The call came in at 6:42 a.m., the kind of hour where bad news likes to hide. A lab technician didn't bother with small talk. He just said, "We've got a familial hit. And you're not going to like how old this case is. 27 years. That's how long Lily Morgan had been missing. She disappeared before she could spell her own name. A toddler. 2 years old. Last seen holding a plastic spoon and crying because her juice spilled on the car seat. Her parents had pulled over at a roadside rest stop during a family trip. Her mother went to the bathroom. Her father stayed with the car. Somewhere between those two ordinary moments, Lily vanished. No witnesses. No blood. No ransom call. Just a shoe, found near the edge of the parking lot, small enough to fit in the palm of my hand. I was a junior officer when the case first crossed my desk. Back then, DNA testing meant waiting months for partial results and praying the samples hadn't degraded. There were no databases full of everyday people. No ancestry kits. No digital trail. Once the leads dried up, Lily's file was boxed, labeled, and pushed into a cold room with hundreds of others like it. Cases we tell ourselves we'll come back to. Most of the time, we don't. Lily's parents never stopped coming back. Every year on her birthday, they sent a photo of what she might look like now. Age progression sketches. Cards. Letters. Hope folded neatly into envelopes the department didn't know what to do with. Her mother aged fast. Her father stopped speaking to the press after year 5. By year 10, the public stopped asking. By year 20, the case was officially considered unsolvable. Until a woman in another state mailed her saliva to a company that promised to tell her where her great-grandparents came from. That's the part that still makes my stomach tighten. The woman called herself Anna Brooks. 30 years old. Married. 1 child. No criminal record. A clean life, built carefully and quietly. She was curious about her ancestry, like millions of others. She clicked a box agreeing to terms she didn't read and sent off the sample. 2 weeks later, the system flagged something unusual. She didn't match who she was supposed to match. Instead, the algorithm showed a close biological relationship to Margaret and Thomas Morgan, Lily's parents. At first, the lab thought it was a clerical error. Samples get contaminated. Files get mislabeled. But the numbers didn't lie. The probability score was too high. This wasn't a distant cousin or a coincidence. This was a daughter. I pulled Lily's file myself. The cardboard edges were soft from age, the ink faded. Inside were photos I remembered too well. A little affected-out smile. A missing front tooth. That shoe again. We ran Anna Brooks through every system we had. Birth records said she was born 3 years after Lily vanished. Adoption records were sealed, but not non-existent. Someone had gone to great lengths to make her past look ordinary. Too ordinary. We requested a warrant for a confirmatory DNA test, this time using a direct comparison with Lily's preserved samples. The kind of test that doesn't leave room for doubt. While the lab worked, I drove to the address listed under Anna Brooks. Suburban. Clean. Toys in the yard. A swing set. The kind of place parents fight to protect. I sat in my car and watched her through the window. She laughed easily. She moved like someone who believed her life made sense. I wondered if she ever felt the gaps. The missing pieces. The dreams that didn't belong to her. The lab called that night. 99.999% match. Lily Morgan was alive. She had been alive the entire time. But the question that kept me awake wasn't where she'd been. It was who had taken her, and why they'd let her grow up believing a lie for nearly 3 decades. Because children don't disappear on their own. And someone somewhere had built a life on a stolen child. I didn't arrest Anna Brooks. Not that day. When we knocked on her door, she opened it with a smile that didn't know it was about to disappear. Her son clung to her leg. There were crayons on the floor. A pot of soup simmering on the stove. Ordinary sounds. Ordinary life. I introduced myself. She invited us in. People always do. I watched her face as I told her why we were there. Not all at once. You never drop a truth like that in one piece. You let it land slowly, the way gravity works. We believe you may be connected to a missing child case. Her smile froze. We ran your DNA through a national database. Her hand went to her chest. Instinct, not guilt. You were reported missing in 1998. Your name wasn't Anna Brooks. Silence doesn't always scream. Sometimes it folds inward. She sat down. Asked for water. Asked if her son needed to leave the room. She didn't cry. Not yet. I always knew something was wrong, she said finally. I just didn't know what. Her birth certificate was real, but the hospital listed no attending physician. Her mother, the woman who raised her, never allowed baby photos on display. No relatives. No stories from before the age of 3. Whenever Anna asked questions, she was told she'd been difficult as a toddler. That she didn't remember because she didn't need to. But she did remember. A parking lot. A loud truck. A woman's perfume that made her throat burn. She thought they were dreams. We located the woman who raised her 2 days later. Margaret Ellis. 72. Widowed. A retired church volunteer with a spotless reputation and a house that smelled like lavender and bleach. She didn't deny it. I found her wandering, she said, hands folded neatly in her lap. No one was watching her. I waited. I told myself if someone came, I'd give her back. No one came. So she kept her. She changed her name. Filed paperwork through a rural clinic known for poor record keeping. Moved states twice. Built a life that looked respectable enough to avoid suspicion. I loved her, Margaret said. Doesn't that count for something? Love doesn't erase a crime. The day we reunited Lily with her parents, no one knew where to stand. The room felt too small for all that time. Her mother touched her face like she was afraid she'd disappear again. Her father cried without sound, his hands shaking. Anna just stood there. She had a husband. A child. A whole life stitched together from lies that weren't hers. Being found didn't feel like rescue. It felt like loss in reverse. I don't know who I'm supposed to be, she whispered. I didn't have an answer. Margaret Ellis was charged with kidnapping, identity fraud, and obstruction. She was sentenced to 18 years. She will likely die in prison. People asked me if it was worth it. If reopening the wound helped anyone. If the truth mattered after so long. Here's what I know. A missing child case is never cold. It's just waiting for the right science to speak. DNA doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive. And it doesn't care how much time has passed. Lily Morgan was found alive after 27 years. But what she lost can never be returned. This case is closed. If this case stayed with you, follow silent evidence files. Because some truths don't come from witnesses, they come from what the body remembers.